In this video, I'm showing you how I did this hybrid look of boho, knotless braids, and locks. Here is the hair that I used, some lock extensions, crochet lock extension, and the knotless hair that I'm using. I'm right here on the rack. And I'm starting off on clean blow-dried hair. I'm starting off doing the back row with knotless braids. So that is what you see me doing right here. I am just separating a section for the row. I am using pure neat braid. Everything that I am using will be in the description box below. You can also click the link to my Amazon storefront and purchase all these items. But I just use the braiding gel. You see, I don't put like a whole lot, just enough to kind of clean up the parts and to get the flyaways to come to one and not be so separated. And it's going to be 4 knotless braids in this row. I'm doing more of a medium size, what I consider medium. Once I split it down the middle, I am then going to split it in half like you see here, and this will create the number of braids, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm not going to show a whole lot of me doing the knotless braid. As you see right here, I'm using that braiding gel and I'm just smoothing it all around all of the braid. You want to make sure that whatever braiding gel you're using, you're smoothing into the hair so you don't have any white residue. And I feed in the hair after I do the 3 pillars. And yeah, I just feed it in right away. She's going more for like a mid back length, not super long, but it ended up being longer than I expected only because her hair naturally is long. And the longer her hair get, the longer her braids will end up being. So if you have mid-back length hair, I would suggest you to get waist length braids. Um, if you have shoulder length hair, you could definitely get mid-back. If you want bob length, you would have to do bantu knot ends if you have hair that is longer than the shoulder length or the desired length you want for a bob. But you see, I'm just braiding it all the way down. I'm braiding it all the way to the tip. And you got to make sure you tuck in your client's hair. I use the braiding gel to smooth in my client's hair. Now that I've completed the first row, now I'm going into the second row, which is where I start to do braid, lock, braid, lock. I just want to tell you guys that I really love doing hybrid hairstyles. I've done this before, but with knotless braids and twists. I will have that in the description box below if you want to check that tutorial out after you see this. But I just wanted to show you guys this hybrid look because I think it turned out super nice. And the reason and the inspiration for this hairstyle is because my daughter wants to be a pirate for Halloween, and she just wanted that boho chic look. So that is why we are doing it. Now you see me doing the locks. With locks, I just braid the person's natural hair all the way down to the tip. I'm not adding in any braid extension hair. Now, if you have thin or short hair, you can, but I would not prefer unless it is a certain length you're going for. But since her hair is long, then yeah. And then I just put in the lock from using the loop because this is like a crochet lock. And then you see I bend her hair upward, take it through the root with the latch hook. Then I use the latch hook to kind of bring the braid through, but you see like her hair is unraveling. Her ends are cut, so yeah, but I'm making it the desired length. I actually matched it to the knotless braids I already did. Then I take the hook again just to make sure I secure it in place. And I latch hook it through her braid. And that is how I do it. Once I do that, I take some springy Marley hair and I take it through the root. And then you're going to see me make it one side a little longer past her hair onto the lock. Then I start wrapping firmly to the root, not too tight, but firm at least twice. Then I start to go down with the Marley hair as I wrap. And I just keep going all the way down. You want to make sure that you are going past your client's hair. I am stressing that to the T. Go past your client's hair, all the way past where their hair starts with this Marley hair, tight and firm, because you want to make sure that when you remove these, you are not cutting out your client's hair. I will be showing a video on how I remove these, but once I get done, I just use both of my hands and do kind of like a palm roll, and I spray some spritz on. I'm also going to use Got To Be to really make sure that that Marley hair doesn't try to like not be what it needs to be, and that's pretty much how it look. I'm going to show you guys again on how I do this whole row. Now, when it comes to hybrid, it's really up to you on if you want to do a pattern of knotless braids, locks. You can literally do it by row. So you could do a row of locks, a row of knotless braids. You can also add in some twist if you want to, but I'm doing it this way where I'm doing knotless braid, lock, knotless braid, lock. But again, you can do it row by row. You could do knotless braid one row, locks the next row, knotless braids again, locks, then, or you could do all three, like I said before. But yeah, but you see, I'm just doing the lock. I'm braiding her hair all the way down. I did not realize her hair was this long until I did this hairstyle. I was like, oh my God. I knew it was long and I knew shrinkage was real, even with it blown out. But once you get to braiding it, that's a whole different story. And the braid that I'm about to do right now will be a knotless braid. Again, I am pulling hair off of my braiding rack. If you are enjoying this content, make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you thumbs up. Comment below any questions. I do respond to my comments. So yeah, but make sure you subscribe. Also go follow me on my other platforms. Same name, Slayed by Gemma. And yeah, so you guys can see the pictures, some before and after, some behind the scenes, and all that good stuff. You can also become a member where I also put that behind the scenes stuff and join the family. So yeah. But here I am doing the knotless braid. You want to make sure you detangle as you go. I couldn't find my unbrush, but I generally like to use my unbrush when doing any type of style. Now, I don't really like to use the rat tail comb because the teeth are very fine. But yeah, but now you see me doing the lock. I was going to do like all of the braids and then come back and do the locks once all the rows were done. And then I was like, that's going to be too much. So I'm actually just going to be doing the knotless braids and then preparing for the locks. And then that's pretty much how I did this hairstyle. But yeah, this hairstyle turned out super cute. It will last you, I would say 4 weeks, a month, basically, with good maintenance and care. You want to make sure that you are spraying some type of braid and scalp spray and then oiling your hair, especially with locks. A reason why I say especially with locks, because this Marley hair tends to really dry out your scalp because of the texture change. So I always tell my clients to be heavy on the oiling and the scalp spray because it really helps your scalp stay nice and moisturized when wearing this hairstyle, which will cause no damage. Like you won't have as much damage. Now you will have some shedding as normal because our hair does shed. But when it comes to breakage, you always want to keep your protective styles moisturized when rocking them. Also encourage you guys to use some type of oil and not just put it on the scalp, but rub it through on your hands and rub it through the tips and the braids of the parts where you think that your hair lies within the braid. Because you got to remember, your tip is the oldest part of your hair. So you want to make sure you're taking care of your hair when wearing extensions. This is synthetic fibers, so you want to make sure that your hair isn't causing any breakage while wearing it. But the number one way to do that is if you're not wearing any type of protective gear. When I say gear, I mean like you need to make sure you're wearing a silk scarf and that you're wearing a shower cap, but also, again, taking care of your hair by moisturizing it and oiling it. So please do all of that. And I did want to show that I did add a pop of color into her hair. And we are going to be adding like beads and shells and things, and making it more boho the closer we get to Halloween. And I will have a short on that, so be on the lookout for that. I will try to also link that in this video and put a card or put it in the description box so you can see how it looked with her costume and just the pirate look. She wanted it to look, like how you want boho braids to look, a little rough and stuff, like you kind of been through the trenches. So yeah, but I'm just showing you guys the hairstyle, how I did it sped up, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Now that I've did all of the braids and locks, I am now taking all of the braids and I am braiding them all together. Like I'm sectioning off a portion of braids and I'm doing one big braid because I am crinkling these ends. She is not getting curly, she is getting crinkly, and I'm braiding it all the way down to the tip. I'm just gathering all of the braids that is in this hairstyle. None of the locks are braided like this. So you see me kind of looking for the braids, and then I'm going to just braid them as one unit. So that way all of the ends are crinkly. I find it to be more crinkly when I'm doing more braids than like 3 at a time. So if you want to have crinkly braids, you want to like grab a bunch of braids and then you're going to just braid it all the way down. Then you're going to take the boiling hot water. Again, make sure you have an adult or you're an adult doing this process because it is extremely hot. Then you just make sure that it's properly sealed and dip it. You could dip it 1 or 2 times, but make sure you do not go all the way up the client's hair because you will be dipping their natural hair that is throughout the braid. So make sure you're just doing the tip like you see me do. Now I'm taking the Got2b and I'm about to go over all of these locks with that just to really make sure that these locks will not unravel and all that good stuff. And over time, the locks have a lot of wear. So you'll see like, oh, this ain't coming out unless you cut it out. And again, you want to make sure you have somebody cut it out or the person that installed it to cut it out. So that way you do not cut your natural hair and you just palm roll it like you see me doing once I spray. You know, this Got2b glue is strong and tough and rough. I generally don't like ever like putting it on my client's hair as far as like on their scalp because, yeah, I just don't find it to be good. If it can set some hair to a point where it's not moving, I worry about how that would be on the root of the person's hair. So by me spraying it on the extension is not harming the person's hair at all. Now you're going to see me take down those thick braids that I braided of all the other braids together. And you're going to see how this crinkle hair turns out once I take the braid down. And I really love this hairstyle. Like, y'all just don't know. This hairstyle is super cute. You see me just showing you guys how it look. And now I'm just going to continue taking this braid out. And yeah, so if this was a full head of knotless, you could literally braid all the braids together, dip it and seal it in the hot boiling water, and all of your braids will be crinkly. And that is how you create that crinkle look. Before I add any boho hair, I like to go over my client's hair and just really oil it nice and good. The locks did come with boho hair on it, but I did not add any boho hair in on the braid. So a lot of the boho is at the tip right now, and we're just gonna do light boho until we get closer to Halloween. And again, I will have a video on the whole finished look of the pirate with the accessories and things like that, with the shells and yeah, so and beads and stuff. So I just wanted to let you guys know, like, make sure you oil the hair before adding in the boho. And I do this because I don't want the boho hair sticking onto the grease as I'm greasing it. So I like to do it as a step before I add the boho. And then you see me just latch hooking like you've seen me in a ton of other videos. And on a couple of braids, I'm not adding any boho curls of synthetic hair onto the locks just yet. I will again do that again closer to Halloween, and I will have a video for you guys showing you that process. And yeah, I'm just showing you guys me adding in a couple pieces just to give it a little fullness. Then I go over it with some oil sheen just to give it that shine. And yeah, it turned out super cute, as you guys can see, with the little pop of color. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Again, make sure you thumbs up and go check out my other content. I will link in the hybrid braids with just the twist and the knotless braids right here. So check that out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace and hair grease. Bye.